Whether you are a family of 1, 2, or 8, we want to get the biggest bang for our buck. And by doing that, we want to get a use out of everything in our house, even if someone else might toss it at this point. In this video, I'm going to show you, while I'm living in my RV in South Texas, some of the things that I'm salvaging so that the money I've spent doesn't go to waste and I get the biggest bang for my buck. I hope you'll stick around. Hi, I'm Bonita and I am early retired. I'm not old enough yet for Social Security. I'm living on a low income and I am living off of savings. And right now I'm spending the winter in my RV in the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas. I normally live in Kansas. I have frugal videos all year round, and I hope that you will join me this year in 2025 as we share ways to save money and live our dreams. Many people might think right off the top of their head, the first thought that pops in of it's not worth the hassle. I'm just going to toss it. But I don't think like that. I'm retired, I'm living on a low income, and I'm not old enough for Social Security. So if it's worth me saving some money, I look at how little of a hassle it's actually going to be. Is there just like 5 minutes of hassle? Then I'm going to do it. So this became brittle in my car, probably just being in the sunlight, and the disinfecting wipes had dried out. So I thought, well, I'm just going to wet them down, not realizing there was a hole in the bottom. And I thought, how can I use these still and throw the container away? Well, I have this. I bought this on sale for 25 cents. I thought I can stuff them in there. I thought, no, that's going to be way too difficult. And then I thought, you know what? I have a yogurt container that will work perfectly. So I just wetted them down and put them in there, no waste. In that example, it took me longer to figure out how to repackage them than the actual decision of I'm going to repackage them. And it just took seconds to do that. And I salvaged those wet wipes that I can use. And you might think they're diluted down, but they're perfect for me to wipe surfaces off, and I don't have to dirty a rag. They're already there. I already own them, and they would have been something that a lot of people might have just tossed out. Now, what do you do if you have something in your fridge? And for me, as an example, I'm living here by myself. I have to eat what I make or it's going to be wasted. I have a very small freezer. I can't just throw it in the freezer. There's not room. So when I make something and then maybe 2 or 3 servings in, I'm like, I just don't feel like eating this, but I don't want it to go bad. This is what I do. I figure out if there's something else I can make from that. So in this example, I'm going to show you how I repurposed some leftovers. I made this shepherd's pie, and now it's going to be clear down to about 29 degrees at night and very cold with even a snowflake in our forecast. So I'm going to repurpose some of this shepherd's pie into a vegetable soup. And why not? It has all of the ingredients already there. You might think, hey, it has mashed potatoes. Well, that will help thicken the soup and also flavor the soup. All I'm going to do is add a little bit of water, a little bit of beef base, and then I have some leftover peas in my fridge. I'm going to add a little bit of those and make a delicious vegetable soup out of this. It makes it into a whole nother meal. It doesn't seem like shepherd's pie anymore. It had all of the same ingredients minus water and a little bit of beef base and some extra peas. And I now have vegetable soup for the cold snap ahead. And I have to tell you, that was the best vegetable soup I have ever had. And it was so easy. And I didn't have to measure things, taste things, because everything was already flavored perfectly from the shepherd's pie. So I threw it together, lickety split. It was so delicious. I am so glad I thought of a way to repurpose those so that I could use it up into something that sounded good to me on these cold days. Since it's going to get below freezing, I had to bring my plants inside, and not all of them had something underneath them. So I took this old caramel corn jug, cut off the bottom, and made a perfect size bottom for my Swiss chard for a drip pot. My celery also do not have a drip pot, so the way I transported them down here to Texas and the way I'm going to move them in for the night is I reused this old baby bathtub that I was going to declutter, and then I used it as a drip pot, and both of my celery fit in there. I've already had to change clothes for the second time today. I'll have to change back as soon as the sun goes away behind the cloud. But I'm so glad that I had the foresight to keep that baby bathtub. I was going to use it as a planter actually. And then when I was coming to Texas, I thought, I think my celery will both fit in there and I can slide it straight into the camper very easily. Now we have to slide it in, lift each one in there, and then move it to where we want to move it because the celery are too heavy. But they both fit in there perfectly, and it works as a drip pot because celery take a lot of water. And so a lot of it may come out the bottom, but then it will reabsorb through the holes, and it will keep my celery moist and keep it alive through these freezing temperatures. So a lot of my tips that I give on this channel, they're not rocket science. They're just stopping for a second, thinking it through and thinking, is there some way that I can reuse this item, repurpose this item, use something that I already have? And the whole purpose is to help you get an idea, get those creative juices flowing. I hear from so many viewers that when they're shopping or doing other things, they hear my voice in their head saying, hey, do you really need this? Can you reuse something? Do you have something already you can use? I find that so flattering that they hear my voice in their head coaching them sometimes. But these are things that I do, that I try to inspire myself to see another way or another use of something that I might otherwise spend money to replace or to buy. And it has saved me a lot of money, and it's gotten use out of things that I had sitting around that were just there in the way, not being used, like that baby bathtub. I thought, I need to donate that. I need to get rid of it. Then I thought, do they even really use ones that look like this anymore? What else can I do with it? Because I don't want to donate something that they're just going to have to toss. And this is what I came up with. My Swiss chard could not keep up with my salad cravings, so I had to go purchase some lettuce at the store. But as I told you, my refrigerator likes to freeze lettuce. So I just put it in a bowl of cold water on the counter, and it is preserving my lettuce perfectly. Sometimes I just have to use some old-fashioned tricks to get the biggest bang for my buck. A lot of RVers will buy special coverings for the side and the front windows of their RV in the cab so that no one can see them changing clothes. But we do have a sunscreen in the front, but I don't buy any side panels. What I do is I just substitute using this Star Wars flat sheet that was a twin sheet from my kids growing up. Everybody gets a kick out of this vintage sheet. We're getting some use out of it and getting a smile. Finding unconventional ways to use things that we have that maybe were designed for another purpose are great ways to save money. I have found so many ways to reuse things or use them for another purpose other than the way they were intended. Marketing tries to get us to think that you need this item for this purpose, and they want us to buy each of those items. They want us to buy the rice cooker, the Instapot. They want us to buy the veggie steamer, when sometimes one product will do all of those things, or we could just do it the old-fashioned way on the stovetop. So getting ourselves out of that consumeristic thought process is sometimes really hard to do because we are conditioned to see each item for the specific purpose that it is designed for. So I try to take myself out of that loop and look at things in a whole different perspective. What can I use that caramel bucket for? I had tried to put cat food in it last year down here in Texas, and it was not airtight, even though I thought it was. And ants got in Fluff's cat food. And so I was just going to throw that away or have it recycled, put it in the plastic thing. And then I hadn't done it yet. And when it started to get cold, I thought, how am I going to move some of this stuff in without it leaking everywhere? And I thought of that caramel corn can, and I thought I can repurpose that. It will fit perfectly. It's see-through. You won't even hardly be able to tell that it has a drip pot under it. So I challenge myself to think that way. And I am challenging you as well for 2025 to think that way. Think, what else can I do with this that is not for the reason that it is designed? I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's got your creative juices going and maybe inspired you to look at some things differently in your home, to salvage them before you toss them, to save yourself some money and get the biggest bang for your buck. Thanks for watching today, and I hope to see you in the next video.